I started over. Maybe this one works. Is this working? Last attempt. I'm not gonna do it again. Five people are here. Okay, this one might be working. It's working. This one's working. That's great. I'm glad this one was working because I couldn't get the other one to work for some reason. That's great news. That's great news. That's great news. What's up, everybody? 9 friends working. Dave, my guy. As long as Dave is watching, then we are good. That's all that matters. Welcome home. Thank you. Thank you. The other one was working? Okay, great. I didn't notice the other one was working. It was like frozen on my end, I guess. But I started it over, and here I am again. And I have 11 friends. That is adequate enough for me for today. How you guys doing? Hello, Amber. I will see you soon, Amber. I think you're coming this Thursday. Down for some backcountry PPG training. Michael, my man, hello. Can't wait to see you here in a couple of days. Just landed 20 minutes ago. The air sucked tonight. Oh, I'm sure it was so bumpy. I would know nothing about bumpy conditions. I'd know nothing about it. Oh, Michael and Amber, I have some very funny shirts for you two. Because we had plenty of fun ideas when you guys were here, and then I actually made some funny shirts that you guys are going to enjoy. You're packing now. That's great. Sorry, I'm slowly moving you around and my keyboard is glitching out. What up, everybody? Live take 2. Time to tell a few stories about the Adventure Wingman. I have, 24 people asking me every day what it's like, and they all want my stories, and it took me 3 hours, 3 whole whopping hours to tell my dad all the stories. And I don't think I have enough time to tell everybody 3 hours worth of stories, so I figured I'll just tell everybody all at the same time. Makes it a little bit easier, at least a few of the stories. Because there's a lot of stories. It was 11 days. It was 40 hours of flying. Yeah, this is moonshine. You caught me red-handed. 40 hours of flying. Have you ever flown 40 hours in 11 days? Let me tell you, by the end of those 40 hours, you are so over flying. You're over it. At least I was over it. I was tired. My shoulders hurt. My body hurt. My abs hurt. I was ready to sleep. 40 hours in 11 days. It was a lot of flying. 27 flights. We did 1,000. Trevor drinking took one for the team. Exactly. I'll take one for all of you so you guys can enjoy some good flying tonight. I skipped out on going paragliding tonight, so hopefully this helps all the paragliding bros at the point of the mountain have a good night, even though this is just water. Someone's got to do it, and I'll just have to do it for you. I'm hoping all the boys at the point have a good time, because I'm wishing I was at the point of the mountain flying. Because paragliding is a lot of fun, and there's no weight. And after running around with a 120-pound paramotor for 11 days, not having a paramotor on your back feels kind of nice. 18 of you are watching. What's up? Well, you got to get out there. Yeah, you do, Dave. And by the way, Dave, I have paragliding harnesses and wings. All you got to do is come, and you can fly my stuff. And I know a guy here in Utah who has a lot more paragliding wings and a lot more harnesses. Like a lot of them. He'll even sell them to you, too. Yeah. Come on out to Utah. Come do some paragliding. I think Judson's out paragliding tonight. I was going to go with him, but there's other things that I needed to get taken care of. I'm just realizing you all are a solid 20 seconds behind me, by the way. So when you ask a question, it takes me a solid amount of time before I see it. Deal. Good, Dave. Good, good, good. Yeah, Judson's out paragliding, dude. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I did some stalls yesterday for the first time. Some pre-stalls, just little baby, you know, let it go light, surge it forward, let it catch it kind of things. That was the first. That was super fun. I'm not sure if you've ever done any stalls, Dave, but they're terrifying. You know, to go up. It's funny. I was telling somebody last night. I was like, yeah, we go into the sky to you know, fall out of the sky in style, pretty much. That's what you do when you go to stall a wing. You go. I hear you did awesome. That makes me so happy because I makes me very happy. Makes me happy. I'm wishing I was out there paragliding with Judson. This live stream would be so much more fun if I was on the top of a mountain. Oh, I'm tired, boys. And girls. I am tired. What altitude were you when you do the stalls? I think I was like 1,500 feet up, maybe 1,000 feet up. I was quite up there. If you go look at my Instagrams, it's Trevor Steele 1, letter 1, or number 1, excuse me. You can see on my story. I'm sure you saw it on my story. I did 50 of them. I counted 32, but before that, I at least did 20. So I'm saying I did 50. I'm trying to do 100 clean ones before I do anything else. So that's the goal right now. That's the goal right now. And you guys are going to be excited. I'm editing up the videos. Of the Adventure Wingman trip. Editing those videos, starting to put them together. Video number 1 should be maybe coming out by the end of this week. First and foremost, I'm making a video about my collapses that I took. I'm sure you all saw those. They were a lot of fun. Did your wing fold on any of the stalls? No, it's just pre-stalls. You just let it go light and then shoot it forward. It did not fold. I mean, maybe it kind of did, but I didn't like go parachute or actually stall it. Okay, scariest moment during the challenge? Dave, that's great. Great question. Scariest moment during the entire Wingman Challenge? I think the scariest moment for me was flying over Death Valley. And it wasn't because the flight itself was scary. It was because I was facing the fear injury of my collapses, as we call it. A couple days prior, I had taken those 3 nasty collapses that I'm sure you all saw on the interwebs. I had taken those, and anytime you have something like that happen, there's typically, you know, leftover fear that you have to kind of work through. Well, so as we're going into Death Valley, and we're crossing these 10-mile wide mountain ranges with no roads, no outs, no exits, and it's like 11:30 in the morning, and also it's 93 degrees, and also you're crabbing sideways across the desert. And also you have an hour left, and every little tiny bump scares you. That was the scariest flight for me because I was so terrified of every little bump because I had just taken those collapses, and I didn't want to have that happen again, even though, I'm going to pop on a little light here, even though the collapses weren't even that bad. It just was scary. And there was no reason for me to scare. The scariest part about that flight was not even the bumps. The bumps weren't even that bad. It wasn't even the fact that we had no exits besides a helicopter ride. It was the fact that I'd watch Miro's wing, like, hit a bump, and then I'd sit there, like, staring at the wing, death gripping the brakes, like, okay, it's gonna happen, I'm gonna hit a bump, and then I'd never hit the bump. I don't know why, and the anticipation of hitting the turbulence was the worst part by far of that flight, and I was absolutely not having a good time. And it took me like 3 or 4 days to overcome the fear injury, as we called it, of those collapses. No Trevor Taco. Was that the Viper 5? I did not do any stalls on the Viper 5. I did the stalls on a U-turn Blacklight 2. I did the Adventure Wingman on a Viper 5. Glad to see it's working. Me too. How many hours were on the motor when you flew this? Wondering what you did to prep your machine. My motor had 32 hours on it. It currently has 70 hours? 71 hours? Something like that. So it's just shy of 40 hours. What did I do to prep it? I did a whole whopping nothing but a spark plug. That's all I did. I actually think I changed the starter as well. But it needed a little bit of love. I didn't need to change it, but I changed it anyways, and now I'm just giving it the love that it needed. Let's see. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Exactly. The fear is the worst part. It wasn't bumpy. It wasn't bad. There was nothing for me to be scared of. I just was nervous because of the turbulence that I had gone through. Things you wish you had with you. Things you wish you had with you. I wasn't really missing anything per se. A pair of flip-flops would have probably been nice, to be honest with you, because I had to wear my hiking boots the entire time, which was fine, but some flip-flops would have been nice. What I did take that was too much is I took a Camelback, and I never used it. I had it half full of water the entire time and never drank from it. And I took well, the tools you always need. I had a tool that I brought that I just never used. My hands were cold. At what point were my hands cold? My hands were cold the first flight, but they weren't really cold any other flights. Oh, the Death Valley flight was also a pretty extreme. I should tell you guys about the whole story with that. I'll tell you the launch, because the launch was super cool. Firstly, we landed at this little dirt field, and I tell this story in the video that's coming soon. Firstly, we landed at this little tiny dirt patch next to a gas station surrounded by power lines. We barely swoop it in and land on this dirt patch. But come to find out, we're a mile and a half from the airport where we should have landed because they have fuel there, and there was no reason for me to land there. And through miscommunication, I landed there, and it was dumb. And I definitely got a little bit chewed out for that one. Anyways, Judson lands with me. We gas up. Miro calls. He's like, have fun walking to the airport. Took us a while to walk the mile and a half to the freaking airport and then relaunch. So I go to launch. It is now 10:30, 11 in the morning. I inflate the wing. I go to hit the power and the motor dies. We've gone from 7,000 feet to 3,000 feet. The elevation change has screwed up the tuning on the carburation. I hit the power and it dies on me. But I don't want to stop. I want to nail this launch. I'm running. The wing is still above my head. I reach up, grab the pull cord, and I start it while running, while kiting the wing, get the motor started, work through the weird throttle range, and launch into the sky. That same flight, we got buzzed by an F-18, but it was just a big bird. You didn't hear that from me. We flew over Death Valley, landed in Death Valley. We launched cold in ski gear. We landed in 93-degree temperatures because we landed in Death Valley. Most epic and most of this going. Let's see. Most epic thing was, I don't know. It was all pretty freaking cool. Most epic thing was probably a lot of this just fun places that we ended up flying over. Probably the most epic thing for me was the fact that I had an hour and a half long flight where I put the throttle on cruise control, carabinered it to my swing arm, and then didn't touch it again for 2 hours. For over an hour. I went from 5,000 feet to 10,500 feet, and the throttle was set to only cruising RPMs. So I basically thermaled from 5,000 feet to 10,500 feet just with the throttle on cruise at 5,600 RPMs, which was just enough for me to maintain altitude. That was a lot of fun. Most surprising thing was, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot. How would someone get into the sport like myself, deal with adverse turbulence, knowing how to deal with things safely? Just training experience, exposure, having someone there. Let's see. The Camelback is like a float system landing out in the desert, BFE. Yes, yeah. It was like a worst case scenario, I had it kind of thing, but I would have rather had a water bottle because the Camelback just took up a lot of space. Are you going to do an adventure wingman challenge again? I would do it again. I don't know when I would do it again, but I would do it again. I'd probably do it again in a year, but maybe not. It was a lot, dude. It was a lot to handle. I mean, 11 days. It was during these 11 days, I could not think about or give attention to anything else. I had to completely disconnect from life. I didn't talk to the girlfriend. I didn't talk to anybody. All I focused on was not falling out of the sky while flying, and where I was going to sleep that night, and what I was going to eat that day. That was all that mattered. Nothing else freaking mattered. You had to disconnect from everything in a different way, which was really, really therapeutic to completely disconnect from everything and be forced to just kind of fight for life in a way. So that was fun. Did you guys consider using something like an Atom 80 for better fuel economy? Have fun flying an Atom 80 over 11,000-foot mountains when you're 180 pounds and you add 40 pounds of gear. Did you sleep in a tent every night? No, Matt. I actually only slept in a tent twice. I slept on the floor in a couple hangars. I slept on the floor in a camper and quite a few hotel rooms. We ended up just landing out at places that there was hotels unintentionally. With who? I know someone that would do it too. That I would love to do this Adventure Wingman Challenge with all the homies. The homies would be fun to do it with. I loved the people that I did it with. I mean, I did it with Miro's Slovak, I think is how you say his name, the guy who created the Scout. I did it with Judson Graham, and I did it with another guy named Jesse. And that was a whole whopping lot of fun. I had respect for your skill, and I don't even know that second word. But thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm excited for you guys to see the videos. I think Judson's going to make a lot of really fun videos. I'm excited to see those myself and kind of relive the moments that I maybe forget. And I'm also excited to whip up the videos that I have, because I filmed quite a lot, and throw those onto the interwebs so you all can see them and experience what it is that we experienced, because we experienced a lot. It was a long 40 hours of flying, my friends. A lot of 40 hours. Michael, I'm glad you're down. We'll have to do it. Bearded Aviator, thank you. Thank you, Bearded Aviator. I appreciate that. Yeah. So another cool thing that we flew over. I'm going to keep this one short, by the way, guys. I might only go for 45 minutes or so. Another cool thing that we flew over while we were out there was the solar farms just south of Las Vegas. It was super important for us to not fly directly over them because they get quite hot, and the last thing you want to do is sizzle out of the sky like a fireball all the way to the ground. And so we had to fly around it, but not in it, and they were bright, and we hit them right as the sun was starting to come up, which was super cool. Do you ever fly with students or hang out? Yeah, Glenn, I do. I tend to hang out like all the time, and I do fly a lot, and the students typically fly with me if they're here. Did all the participants that started finish? No. 15 finished, 18 started. Risk versus reward calculations. That definitely changed in our minds as the time went on. I have new healthy respect for risk versus reward. You have to learn where the boundary is, because when you don't know the limits, you don't know your limits, you don't know the aircraft's limits, like you push in situations you maybe shouldn't. But through this experience, I've kind of learned where where it really isn't worth it anymore, because we had to push in situations that we really shouldn't have had to push in, or shouldn't have flown it. Didn't enjoy it. There were many flights that just weren't any fun. Like we had a flight where we flew between Monument Valley to Page, Arizona. We get about halfway there, having dodged now 2 rainstorms. There were like 2 big cells. We went around this one and then around that one, and we're heading towards Page, Arizona. We have a tailwind. We're doing like 45 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, another storm cell builds right above us and like dumps onto us, and we get hit with this sink that just like full throttle takes us from 1,000 feet to 100 feet in like 30 seconds. We just dropped to the freaking ground like a rock. It was so much downdraft that I was getting out of the seat ready to land in like another 3-5 seconds. Like I was preparing to set the aircraft down because it was gonna put me into the ground at that rate. And then thankfully we like popped through the downdraft after like 30 seconds of flying through it. And then about 2 minutes after that, we landed out on this little dirt road in the middle of the Navajo Nation land. And if you know anything about the Navajo people, they tend not to like the paramotor people landing on their land. So we land there, and immediately a truck just comes blasting towards us. Thankfully, it was just a teenage girl on her way to the main road, which, come to find out, was 30 minutes by car from us. So now we're on a dirt road that is a 30-minute drive to the main road in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's gust front conditions, as in, like, our wing is blowing down the road and we're chasing after it. And it was, like, the nastiest, gnarliest flight ever. Thankfully, I had worked through my fear injury, you could say, and I was a little more comfortable up there getting absolutely rocked around like a kid in a bouncy house. But we waited about 45 minutes, relaunched, and flew for another 45 minutes into the town to the nearest gas station just to give you perspective of how far we were from anything. App used for navigation. I use XCNav. That is the app that I use for navigation. I think the leader after class would be great fun and advanced skill. I think follow the leader. Oh, okay. Do you think did you get any buttery smooth flying, or was it all that gnarly? It was more gnarly than it was smooth. Only because, yeah, it was more gnarly than it was smooth. We flew a lot in the middle of the day. Like, everybody's like, don't fly in the middle of the day. But we flew, like, a lot in the middle of the day. Like, there was a day where we didn't ever stop flying. Like, we took off. It was actually the day that we flew between Vegas and St. George. There's, like, a massive canyon that you have to drive through. So first we fly through that. As we're getting to it, we get hit with horrible rotor. Judson, Miro, and Jesse go this way. I go that way. They go through the worst bumps they've ever experienced. I hit the smooth weather, and I'm up there eating a Maverick burrito, sending them pictures while Judson's saying, I almost landed, it was so bad, and I'm just laughing. We fly that, land at St. George, take off, ridge soar a 10,000-foot mountain at 2 in the afternoon, land, cruise control on, climb to 10.5, land, fly over another mountain range. That was like a long day of flying, a lot of thermaling. So yes, you can, in fact, fly in the middle of the day. Viper 5 impressions. The Viper 5 is absolutely amazing in so many ways. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The one thing that I don't love about the Viper 5 is that it is a lot of work. In bumps and turbulence and thermals and all of that stuff, it is a lot of work. It dances quite a bit. You've got to fly it quite a bit. It also oscillates. Besides that, it has very efficient, low cruising RPMs, lifts me just fine at 180 pounds on an 18 meter, super freaking fast. Also, super freaking fun. Hey, Daniel. And would you use that same glider for that trip? Yes, I would use the same glider. I would go with the Viper 5 again if I was to do the trip again. I might go for a 20. Actually, I don't know if I'd go for a 20 because I didn't blow any launches and I didn't fall on any landings. So I didn't struggle with my wing to weight ratio, you could say. I would love maybe a wing that didn't oscillate as much because I did have to constantly fly the wing. But besides that, I loved the Viper 5 because also it felt very paragliding-ish to me. Like some wings like don't give feedback like a traditional airfoil paraglider does. Like some reflex wings, they just don't give anything back. The Viper 5, when it's bumpy enough, it feels just like a regular glider. So you can fly it just like a regular paraglider, which is really, really nice. I also liked how it collapsed because I did take several collapses, and I feel extremely confident on that wing in even the nastiest of conditions because I know how it collapses now. I know how it feels. And it has a deep brake range without stall. Like that was another thing I didn't like about other wings is, sometimes you like go to pull the brakes in turbulence and you watch the wing buckle in the center and you're like, no thank you. But not the Viper 5. I loved the freaking Viper 5. This trip made me really stan, which stan just means big fan, over Ozone wings. I just think they do a really, really freaking good job. Let's see. Any word on, you're talking to Daniel. Sounds like a bucket list. Absolutely a bucket list. Dave, frame impressions. Great question. 140 prop is an absolute must. The room underneath the gas tank was really, really nice. It's actually where I stuck my oil because it was leaking, and so it could leak all it wanted and it didn't get over it on anything. The higher hook-in points that the swing arms come in from the factory was really nice for the turbulence. I personally quite liked the frame. I have no problems with it. The gas cap. We all know the gas cap on the Limitless is not in a great spot. Trying to fit avgas fuel pump in that gas tank was just not happening. I had to fill so slow. Like I had to just like barely get it on and then drip the fuel into the fuel tank because the avgas, if you've ever filled up an airplane or seen an avgas fuel pump, they're just this massive thing, and it just did not like going into the fuel or to the gas tank at the Limitless. Yeah, this is definitely a bucket list thing. I will say, having done it, I think 7 days might be a better sweet spot versus 11 days. By 11 days, I was really beat up. By 7 days, I was doing okay. This one is for all the people. Have some fun flying. For me, I wish I was out doing some more stalls. I want to get into stalls. I want to get an acro really bad. I want to do some stalls, some spins, some helis, stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, I will also say, Miro, Judson, and I were the only 3 to complete the whole thing without any help from Team Fly Halo. I'm just saying, we completed the whole thing, and that was awesome. Dave, yes, over water, of course. Actually, Dave, I was thinking of learning to do an infinity tumble on south side point of the mountain about 30 feet up with no reserve. That was my plan. I think it's a solid plan. It's setting me up for success. I'm just kidding. I want to go out to Max. I don't know how to say his last name. Max Acro out in California to get into some acro. Maybe we will meet up and be partners someday, Glenn. Very good. Come on out to Utah, do some flying things, pull some strings, squeeze some throttle, burn some gas. Really, Judson had no help from Team Fly Halo? Okay, he had one. I mean, here's what we mean by help. He did not take any rides from Team Fly Halo. On the first day, he did have a thing, and he also had a malfunctioning fuel bladder that they fixed for him, but he did not take any rides from Team Fly Halo. Do you know your winter training schedule yet? I feel bad for calling you so late the other night, but thank you for answering. You are welcome for answering at 10:30 at night and talking until 11. I will happily do that again if I'm able to. My training schedule yet, I should be figuring that out maybe this week, maybe next week. I just had to get a few dates of things in February before I could make a final plan, as well as really firm up on where I was going to do the training. Will you be going to Brad Roper's flying in November? No, I will not. I have a training class going on November 4th to November 15th. That is my final training class in Utah for this year. Dude, what's up? Yeah, so for all of you watching, my final training class is in November. If you are looking to learn to fly, I do have space. That's all I'll say about that. Just for Utah classes. I'll have more stuff in January. It's so weird when I stop talking and I realize all of you are just typing. That was... No, Amelia said that. Nice. Live take 2. I would have enjoyed going down to Brad's flying in November, but I am going to be busy. Busy. I might even be doing an air show. I don't know what I signed up for in November. Lots of stuff going on. So much stuff I don't even know what's going on. Once you choose a life of being busy, it just always stays busy. Are you going to Salton Sea? Of course I'm going to Salton Sea. Dude, I wouldn't miss Salton Sea for anything. I have big plans for Salton Sea, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some big plans in the works for Salton Sea. I'll probably be there for a while, too. I'm also training at Salton Sea, January and March. So that's where I'm going to do my winter trainings. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an April training class at Salton Sea. It's probably going to be a little too hot. I'll probably do it here in Utah. But I will be doing a early January training class down at Salton Sea and a late March class or mid to late March class down at Salton Sea. I actually have a backcountry shirt on right now. There you go. I got a whole bunch of them on the ground behind me. I'm trying to finalize a few details on them. May have to join you out there. Dave, are you talking about Salton Sea? Because if you're talking about Salton Sea, you better be at Salton Sea. I need to spend more time with my guy Dave. I'm so excited for Salton Sea. It's the one thing that I just count down the days for. How many days until Salton Sea? That's the thing I got to look at. Can you reschedule November for after the 17th? Unfortunately, I cannot because that would mean it goes over Thanksgiving. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to be busy on Thanksgiving. Probably best not to be running a training class over Thanksgiving. Good, Dave. You better be at the Salton Sea fly-in. I'm going to be so disappointed if you're not. Am I frozen? Or no? Okay, that was just my computer. Maybe? I don't know. Good old Dave. Dave, you better be at Salton Sea flying. Are you a Vitarazi dealer? I mean, yeah, I can sell Vitarazi stuff. I learned at Salton Sea last January. Can't wait to get back. I'm glad. I'm glad you learned down there. That's a sweet place. I can't wait to fly with you down there. I love freaking Salton Sea. It's a super special place for me. Racing with paramotors. Yes, if you need Vitarazi stuff, I can help you get Vitarazi stuff. But I do think skysportsusa.net is a better place. Michael, any word on your Spider 3? No, sir. I have not heard anything. How were the parties during the challenge? Dave, you'd be surprised to find out that we did not do a lot of partying because we did not have a lot of time or energy left at the end of the days. Beer was drank, and a lot of jokes were told, but we did not party too hard. I'm also talking to employer about advance on vacation to make the November training with you. I mean, hey, if you can make the November training, Glenn, that'd be awesome. I'd love to have you out there. I've got space. You just got to let me know. You were very sarcastic. Michael, I'm hopeful it comes soon, but I don't know. I've had delivery dates quoted, and all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, it shows up, even though they quoted like 9 weeks, and I've had things that were over the expected delivery time. So I don't 100% know on that one. Do you return did I retune my carb? No, Dave, I did not retune it once. I left it the exact same the entire time. See, it is tuned for 4,500 feet because that's where I fly. And so at 7,000 feet, which is the highest we flew at or launched at, it worked good. Not great, but good. And then at like 0 feet, it still worked good, not great. But I didn't want to touch it because it was working and other people's were not working. And so I was not going to start going down the game of like, maybe I'll touch it a little bit here and a little bit there. However, it was running too rich on the high end and we burned too much fuel. We were burning like 6 or 7 liters an hour when everybody else was burning like 3 or 4. So we definitely were running rich on the high end. And Glenn, you are all good. I have a dry sense of humor and I'm sarcastic too. I have a feeling that we will get along. Anyways, guys, I'm not going to do this for too much longer because about 7 o'clock rolls around and I'm ready to fall asleep, and it's currently 6:36. The whole sleepies things is really nice now that I'm not flying across the country. Was there a discussion from Team Fly Halo about changing the time of year next year, perhaps getting better air? Good weather is one thing nobody can predict. They did, I believe the Icarus races were scheduled like 1 week later or maybe 2 weeks later than this was scheduled. Problem is, if you schedule in the summer, you're running the high risk of really nasty midday flying. If you run it any later, you're running really cold. You're flying really, really cold the whole time. And so I think they actually chose a good time of year. It just was a bad hand was dealt to us. And also, although the first few days were really nasty, we did have flying the rest of the time. Like every day after those first 2 days, we flew. It might have been bumpy, but we flew. And it was going to be bumpy one way or another. I'm just saying. And I'm also appreciative of the bumpy because it showed me new limits. And it showed me like, oh, yeah, you can handle that. And now when I go paragliding or when I go flying with other people and they're like, oh, it's so bumpy, I just laugh. I laugh because I'm like, no, it's not. I promise. I have to hit the sack myself as we are in harvest. Good night. Thank you, Glenn. Good night to yourself. Perry Ninja, Matt, I'm very sad that we were not able to link up right before We didn't end up launching out of Lake Tahoe. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. We were scheduled to launch out of Lake Tahoe. We ended up launching out of Bridgeport, California, because Lake Tahoe was raining, or it was raining in Lake Tahoe. Something like that. But, Para Ninja, you need to come fly in Utah with me. And also, you need to put a scout mobile on your back and go fly that a little bit more. Go pull some strings with one of those on your back and let me know how you like it. I know, I'm sorry, man. We all canceled the last moment with the rain and smoke. Yeah, I don't blame you one bit for canceling at the end. I would have probably done the same. We got a whole whopping like 25 minutes of flying in the night before the adventure started. It was a fun 25 minutes, but it was only 25 minutes. And I threw down a gnarly foot drag. I'm just saying. It was good. Gnarly foot drag landing. Yeah, I've been flying my friend's Scout a bit. Good. I'm glad you're flying the Scout a little bit. You should put a few more hours on that thing. Here's what I'll tell you, Matt. And here's what I tell most people that switch from what you're flying to something else. At the start, you're not going to like it. Or you'll like it, but you won't love it. It's either it's weird and you're unsure, or you like it, you don't love it. But if you fly it like 2-3 hours and then go back, you can never make that switch back. As soon as you've put a few hours onto it and then you try to go back to what it is that you're normally flying, it's really hard to like that again, and you always wish that you had the other thing. Does that make sense? Without naming names, I hope it makes sense. In the end, you'll end up on the Super Scout Mobile, which I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm not going to say anything. But you should also, Matt, you should also try a Spider 3. Or, yeah, probably a Spider 3 is best for you. I think switching to something that has a little bit more flare authority on landing is really going to be nice for you. Even though you recently discovered the competition toggles, it's still a whole nother sport when you start flying a Spider 3 or most other things, but I'm really a big fan of the Spider 3. Take your toggles off your current wing, stick it on a Spider 3, tie in tip steering, and then you're really in for a treat. And yes, at Salton Sea, let's do it. We'll have lots of flying together at Salton Sea. This year we'll make a point to fly together this year, Matt, I promise. Michael, I really liked flying the Limitless after flying at the FT. I do want to put more airtime on the Limitless frame. Well, Michael, I know a guy who has, like, a couple of those. And, like, I also think you might be hanging out with him here this coming weekend. And, like, he also probably will let you fly one. And also, I think you should get one, Michael. And also, I think Mr. Matt should also get, like, something that would be a little bit easier to fly. Because it makes the sport way more fun. I'm just saying. Let's see, 6:41. All right, guys, I'm only going to go until, like, 8 more minutes. That's it. So ask your questions. Ask all the questions away. Oh, man, I am beat. I'm still recovering majorly from this trip. It was a gnarly trip. Good, Michael. I can't wait for you to be here, too. I'm excited. I hung out with Mike today for the first time in a while. I hadn't seen Mike in a while. I'm missing my bros. I'm missing all my flying friends. Actually, I'm quite enjoying flying with the friends that I am flying with. I'm wishing I was at the point of the mountain right now, because I bet you Judson is throwing some misty flips right now, and I'm just sitting here looking at a screen. And that's not nearly as fun. But I get to talk to you guys. How many people had carburetor issues on the trip? Define carburetor issues. Miro had 3 motor outs because of a poorly tuned carburetor, and Judson couldn't get full power at some points, and his motor wouldn't stay at RPM, and like another guy had that. So quite a few people had carb problems, carb things. And I think it's partially because every time someone changed elevation, they started tweaking their carb, and then it's all over the place. I didn't want to touch it. I kept it the same because it was working. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my mindset. And it seemed to do me well. Besides, I burned a lot of fuel. Which wasn't the end of the world, because we only ever did 60-mile flights. Our longest flight was 75 miles, and that was going into Death Valley. And I should tell you guys about the time that we got buzzed by a really big bird. It was just a big bird. That's what I promise, all right? I look over, I see a shadow of a big bird. I'm looking for the big bird. All of a sudden, its face, belly up, afterburners burning, shooting straight into the sky 300 to 500 feet from us. It's just a big bird, I promise. Okay, maybe the big bird starts with an F and it happens to have a 1 and an 8 in the name as well. But you know what? You didn't hear it from me. I'll leave that up to your imagination. Biggest example of group think. I'm not sure what you mean, Mr. Dave Taylor. What are some of the other wings and frames used? Almost everybody flew a Scout. And a lot of people flew Ozone. Couple people flew Dudex. And quite a few people flew Nivix. That answers your question. I think there were 2 Parajets. There was 1 Limitless, that was me, and there was a 1 Gravity, and then it was all the other ones were Scouts. A lot of Scoutmobiles. Which, by the way, your boy is now a Scout dealer, just in case you're not in some Scout things. I've got some Scout things that I can sell you. I'm really stoked on that one. And Dave, re-ask your question, because I don't know what you mean. Let's see. Any issues taking a number 1 up there? So, Daniel, I did not have to go pee up there, thankfully. But there was one guy that did try to pee up there, and his motor has rust on it now. Just to say what happened. It was not a successful pee run. Would you consider offering a training discount for students who commit to buying gear? Yes, I do actually do that. Reach out to me, and I will let you know on what that discount be. Did you hear talk of a free ride 2 coming down the pipe? How would you compare it to the Viper? Scott, I touched a free ride 2. I watched my homies rip a free ride 2 really hard. And I also have a free ride 2 coming, custom colored, and I'm so excited about it. That is all I will say, but to quote my bestest of homies, it's it. It's it. Like it's the way. It's the way you want. Peer pressure making pilot decisions. Yes, peer pressure led to poor decision making. At the very start, I was just following Miro, and I was just following the other group members because my mindset was like, oh yeah, they probably know where we're going. They know the best line. Like, I'll just follow them. Finally, I realized, at least when it came to turbulence and rotor and stuff like that, that I'm going to make the executive decision of where I'm going to go. I'm not just going to blindly follow the others, because there was a moment in which they all went through really nasty leeward wind and rotor, and I did not, because I chose to make my own decision on the route that I'm going to go in. And we kind of learned to trust our own instincts as the trip went on, which was super cool. The free ride 2 is an absolute must. If you were a free ride 1 homie, I would say get a free ride 2. Also, Scott, I will say the free ride and Viper are 2 different tools for 2 different occasions. Your thought on gravity paramotors. Are you interested in being a dealer for them? I saw one in person and they look great. I am not interested in gravity in any way. Michael, I hope your Spider 2 comes in soon, though, so that we can have more funds and do more fly things, pull more strings. More strings! That's what I want to do. I want to go pull some strings and squeeze a throttle thing and burn some fuel and let it make noise. Why no interest in gravity? It is everybody has their preference. I can't say there's anything wrong about gravity. It's just not something I'm interested in. How many factory hours on the Scoutmobiles? There were 3 factory hours total, 2 on Scouts, 1 on a Maverick. I'm just saying. 2 factory hour mobiles. Judson had 1 and Jesse had 1. Both in our group. And I will say, the 140 prop burned had the same fuel burn as the factory hours, even though the factory hours are more efficient. Just saying. 140 props, dude, if you don't have a 140 prop, you need a 140 prop. And that's why I like the Limitless. Well, Limitless runs a 140 prop. And can you imagine a 4-blade 140 prop, though? Or like a 3-blade 140 prop? Because that'd be pretty sweet. That thing would be a ripper. A certified ripper mobile. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for yawning so much, guys. A couple more minutes, and then I go now, so I can go sleep. Ask your questions, final questions. I take a few more, and then I'm done. I'm so excited about Salton Sea. Sorry, I'm going to go on a little tangent again. I just can't freaking wait. I'm looking at campers. I'm trying to buy one. I'm trying to get one. And I want to have all the lights, and I want to have the music, and I want to have the thing, and I want to have all the fun stuffs. Any luck on getting the netting fixed? Yes, netting is fixed on the Limitless. How is it fixed? It's called getting a new hoop. That fixed it really good for me, really quick too. Besides that, I have new netting that I just need to tie in, which I did do, and I got that fixed up pretty good. I have 2 sets of used netting that I'm just going to kind of fix. Salton Sea, dudes. Okay, hear me out. I'm just going to say, here's that I want to make happen, okay? And I'm not going to spoil what the homies and I have planned because there's some things being planned, okay? But I want a runway. I want a big old long runway that is not Salton Sea dirt, dust, sand. That way you could foot drag it, and you can land on it, and you can foot drag launch off of it. I want that. I want like a 100-foot long runway. I don't even know if it's possible, but I want a runway. Could be grass, like AstroTurf grass. I mean, come on. Come on. Wouldn't that be cool? Also, Dave, it is going to be a blast, and I plan to be there for more than 4 days like last year or this year. I plan to be there for a lot longer than 4 days. Like at least 5. That's more than 4. Maybe 7, maybe 10, maybe 12. Maybe I'm there even longer. But I'm looking at some camper mobiles right now. I had to sell my old camper to start Backcountry PPG, so now I've got to find me a new one, which is no big deal because there are nicer ones, and I'm excited about it. I'm planning on going to Salton Sea 2. You better be. I'm parking my RV next to yours, Trevor. Perfect. Perfect. Dave, you better call me and tell me all the details. Also, yes, if you want in on the homie thing, you should reach out because we're putting together a little thing, and so I need to know who's all gonna be there. I'm just saying, good old Salton Seas. It didn't even smell last year. Like, those who went to Salton last year, did you notice it smelling, or was that just me noticing it did not smell? What time is it? 6:50? 10 minutes. I am signing off at 7 o'clock. Hunter. I am assuming that this is the Hunter that I know. I think it is. I hope it is. Hunter, respond if it is the Hunter that I know. You better come. It's mandatory, actually. I'm making it a requirement to be a Backcountry PPG homie. Not actually, but you should really try and come. I didn't notice much. I'm telling you, it wasn't that bad. David, come on. You're being at the RV park. Who needs the niceness of life? Okay, listen, I learned on this Adventure Wingman trip that, to me, only a few things matter. Number 1, that I sleep warm. Number 2, that I'm fed. That's it. I can sleep on the floor as long as I'm warm. So Dave, my guy. You don't need to be in the RV park. But also, I will say electricity is kind of nice. Same with plumbing. Hunter, yes, you better come. You better make it a priority to get your butt down there. If you don't go, you're going to get a severe case of FOMO, dished right in the face, and then you're going to be sad about it for a year. Like, over a year. Like, the whole time until the next one. And also, yes, Hunter, you should try and come down here this coming week for at least a weekend. Even though it's a casual 20 hours of driving for you, you should still try to do it. Okay, Dave, I can understand if it's not 4x4, but also, Dave, I'm going to hit you with a counter argument that there's probably a lot of people with 4x4s near you that could help pull you. I'm just throwing it out there. Is the factory R worth it if not spinning the 140 prop? I'm not sure if it is worth it, Bearded Aviator. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd get a factory R if I can't get a 140 prop on it. Like, I would get the factory R on a Maverick with the Mav Max frame that fits a 140 prop. I would get a factory R on a Limitless because it runs a 140 prop. I don't know if I'd get a factory R if it doesn't run a 140 prop. Hunter, come down and let's do some mountain biking. Oh my gosh, it's Kevin. I know Kevin. I didn't realize I knew Kevin. Yeah, you should come down, Hunter. Yet you're going to have severe FOMO right in the face, dude. Just like right FOMO on your hand and then right across the face, dude. Do you prefer electric start or do you prefer pole start or electric start? Pole start all the way. I'll fly over your camp and hang out, and I imagine you'll spend a lot of time at Team Fly Halo Clubhouse. I'm sure I will. I will be around. You will probably find me in a lot of different places because I have the little wheel thingies that you stand on that go vroom vroom. And yeah, so I'm sure you'll find a way to sneak on down. We also might have things that make you want to come down there anyways, so like you probably will want to swing by. In fact, I know you'll want to swing by because it'll be really fun if you do. Good old Salton Seas. I'm just saying, it's one of those things you got to do. I wouldn't miss it. I missed it in 2020, 2021, and I was really sad about it. And I missed it for a girl who broke up. I broke up with like 2 weeks later. I don't know what I was thinking, all right? Don't make fun of me, all right, boys? Now I'm getting way too vulnerable. It's too late. Man, I'm too tired for this. Still looking out the window, dreaming of paragliding right now, though. All right, boys. I got 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutos. What's good on the interwebs for the next 6 minutes? Oh, no. Oh, man. Don't operate computer while button 5 is being pushed the entire time. It does not go well. Is all I have to say. Oh, my gosh, I can't read. Anyways, I might go for my flight myself. You should, Hunter. I'm not sure if you've flown by yourself yet. If you haven't flown by yourself yet, Hunter, you really should do that. You should go and do some flying things by yourself. I like to do fly things by myself. Pull the strings, hit the throttle, run. That's all I'm saying. It's good stuff. By the way, today's fidget toy, because I always fidget, just in case you were wondering, is a seashell. I'm just saying. It's my thing. I like fidget toys. I also have a Gatorade bottle thing. Not that you guys needed to know that, but here I am telling you all of that. Good, Hunter. How many flights do you have, Hunter? Hunter, if you don't have an hour meter, and I'll tell all of you guys that, if you don't have an hour meter, you should put an hour meter on your paramotor so you can track. You should also put a tachometer. It should be an hour meter tachometer combo. And you should put it on your throttle so that you can watch your cruise control. Or watch your RPMs, excuse me. Did you know 3 Halloween movies were filmed in Salt Lake City? I am not a Halloween guy. I don't have a lot of interest in Halloween stuff. Dressing up's fun, I guess, but I'd probably just dress up as a fighter pilot. Hunter, I've got an hour meter. Is it on your throttle, though? Because that's a make or break. Having the RPMs right here, or at least on your shoulder strap, is really nice. Also use the logs on the nav apps. I use FlySky HY on every flight. I track every flight with FlySky HY. But that is not what I use to track the hours on my motor. That is what I use for personal. The hour meter that I attach to the motor is what I use to track the motor's hours. Unless it's my Maverick and I forgot to put the hour meter on and now I'm just guessing that it has 15 hours. Also, if anybody is interested in some used paramotors, I have a used Limitless for sale. 2 of them for sale, actually, that I will sell for a screaming nice deal. Sounds like an awesome adventure. Hopefully I'll head out west and fly with you. How long till you get a Scout Factory? Hey, Mark, listen, I can't say anything about the Scout Factory, but there may or may not be a White Scout in my future. It's right on my throttle. It's in a nice spot. Perfect. That's where I like it. I finally got a tach hour meter when I had to replace my piston and cylinder to break them in. You should always have a tachometer because otherwise you're just winging it on how many hours are on your motor. And having exact hours is really, 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 really nice. I'm just saying. Have you ever flown over the Bingham Copper Mine? Yes, I have. I have done that once. It was probably one of the craziest experiences I've had because of the absolute size of it. I will make a video on it probably next week, if I'm honest with you. It's already in the plan. If not next week, 2 weeks from now, it's in the plan. Because there's a group of people that I really like that are coming to Utah at the end of this month, mid of this month, for 4 days. Homies are coming, and we're going to go fly a lot of southern Utah, as well as hopefully the copper mine. And Michael, what are you hmming at? I share my secrets. Sharing all my secrets over here. You guys are getting all the secrets. Yeah, buzz. Yeah, buddy. It's 2 minutes, boys. 2 minutes till I'm done. The Limitless for sale. Oh, Michael, I've got 2 Limitless. One with 70 hours, one with 30 hours. Let me know if you would like one. I will give you special friend discount. $20 off just for you. I'm just saying. Maybe $30. Maybe I'll be extra nice for you, Michael. Give you $30 off. Well, boys, I will conclude this with a final story. A final story of epic proportions. I'm getting text messages. Broski, just type it in the chat, my guy. The hat, everybody's asking about the hat. Utah Rocks got this in Hanksville because, did you guys see me on the news? Did you guys see I got on the news? I got stuck on the news. Okay, I'll talk about the story with all of that. But I had like super crazy hair that day. After seeing myself on the news with crazy hair, I bought a hat at the next store just so that I could have a hat on instead of having my hair sticking straight up because I wasn't vibing with the straight up hair. Okay, what's in the mason jar? White lightning? No, this is pure raw water. That's it. That's all that I got in there. I'm not really a drinker. Yeah, Michael. Hey, my Amber said not to buy another motor yet, but listen, I'll give you $40 off, okay? Just for Amber, $40 off. But let me tell you about the final story, okay? There's a couple cool things. It's not here. A couple cool things with this final story. Leaving checkpoint number 1, okay? This is Kingston Ranch, just south of New Mexico. No, Nevada. Just south of Prum, Nevada was this little place called Kingston Ranch, okay? There's a small oasis in the desert. There's literally nothing alive for hundreds of miles. And they have these beautiful trees and this pond, and it's stacked of fish. Judson caught a fish. Like, he dropped the fishing pole in, pulled it out, and there was a fish. He did that twice. And, yeah, so we launch out of there. We go fly over the solar farms. Then we fly to a improvised gas station. The local Las Vegas homies put together an improvised gas station. They had coffee, they had donuts, they had fuel, and the news channel came out. So that was cool. We flew into there in formation because obviously you've got to be in formation when you're pulling up on the news channel. Judson swoops in, nails the landing. Miro swoops in, nails the landing. I swoop in, nail the landing. Drop the gear. Newsmans is coming over and asking us all the questions. Man, we've got some. Judson has some funny bits for his YouTube video with the newsman. Yeah, so we get coffee, best tasting coffee I've had in forever, and Brian, I'm going to buy more Limitless, just new ones. Yeah, so we're at the improvised gas station. I refuel, we refuel, I do the news bit thing, I talk to him, I give him permission, I sign my life away, I didn't even read the contract, hopefully I don't regret that. And then I take off into like this gnarly foot drag all the way around the camp. Thankfully, I didn't kick anything up into my prop. I maybe was being a bit of a show off. I probably shouldn't have done that. I know that looking back on it. Took off, flew away. But there's one more cool thing with this improvised gas station. I did not have glasses that protected wind from my eyes, that kept the wind out of my eyes, okay? No glasses that kept the wind out of my eyes. Because of that, I am suffering a little bit of eye damage. Like, I'm not seeing as well as I was before the trip, and it's really starting to get to me. But I'm at this improvised gas station. All the Vegas homies are hanging out. I look at them, and I go, do any of you have an extra pair of sunglasses? Because I didn't even have sunglasses. Before I got there, my sunglasses got super scratched, and I just said, no, I'm not even going to bring them. I was bringing goggles, but then I didn't even have them because of complications, whatever. One of the homies takes his sunglasses off his face and goes, here. Damien, I believe was your name. Thank you so much for your sunglasses. You saved the day. We took off, flew over the Hoover Dam, which if you've never done is super cool. Flew over Lake Mead, Valley of Fire, and landed at a gas station in a dirt lot. And that's a whole nother story. That was super fun. Thank you for the sunglasses. You were a true lifesaver. My eyes, thank you, because they are not happy at me right now, and I'm really sad about that. I like my eyes, and they don't tend to get better when they get worse. And yes, Dave, Seagull formation. Miro never even knew it was there, but all of a sudden Judson and I were on his wingtips and someone else was right behind him. Or Jesse was right behind him. And yes, Brian, I just want to bring in some new Limitless to the arsenal. I just want to cycle through, as a school, every 50 to 100 hours I want to cycle new equipment in. That's the plan. I think Limitless are the best for schools. That's just what I see. I also really like them. All right, boys. I think this concludes my 60-minute and 18 seconds live stream. I have jabber-yacked. I have shared and spilled secrets. I have answered questions. 26 of you are still enjoying my company, and I appreciate that. I will answer one more question if there is one. Otherwise, I am going to sign off, and I am going to go to sleep, even though it's 7:04. Daniel, thank you. I appreciate the support. I hope that I can see you again here soon, Daniel, and I hope I can get you flying something that you know you want to be flying. Scott, you should come to Utah, Scott. I'm just saying, Scott, you should come fly something that does flying a little better. I'd love to see you out here, Scott. Have a good one. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, I'm reaching out to you this week. I'm forcing you to come flying. I know it's a really hard thing I have to force you to do, but you should come flying with me, Kevin. Scott, you should get out here. You should go to Salton Sea too, Scott. I will open your eyes to a whole new world. Fly safe. Thank you, Frank. Hey, Frank. Good to see you, Frank. I hope all is well, Frank. All right, guys. I am signing out. Kevin, I will talk to you soon. Thank you, and goodbye. Let's just end this live.